pay-to-win skins, why DICE isn't adding a server browser, and a cool 20th anniversary Easter egg hidden in Hazard Zone. Hey lads, thanks for clicking onto a new video. Before we dive into this, tickle that subscribe button and make sure you watch all the way to the end. First things first, fan favorite Exodus Conquest is back. You can find it in the Conquest tab on the main menu, rather than Portal this time. Exodus Conquest is a 64-player mode that opens the specialists up to other era maps. Many players regard it as the best 2042 has to offer, and judging from the replies to me on Twitter, people are very happy to have it back. This does beg the question, why are so few game modes playable at any given time? In previous Battlefield games, we were given access to a server browser that allowed us to play any game mode that particular game had on offer. Fancy some war pigeons in Battlefield 1? Well, just find a server. How about some defuse on Battlefield 4? Yeah, find a server. There was no waiting around for DICE to put your preferred game mode back into the rotation. The idea of limited time modes wasn't even really a thing back then either. But that all changed with Battlefield 5. We started getting these limited time modes that were swapped out by the developers. 2042 has obviously doubled down on this model, making it the core matchmaking system. We no longer even have a server browser. Instead, we fully rely on the matchmaking done by the game. Community manager Kevin Johnson shared some insight into the thinking behind this on Twitter. His first tweet states that having every single game mode available would be a matchmaking nightmare. Entry points is the term used. Right now, there are 2 or 3 entry points per game mode, meaning we can play Battlefield 2042 through 3 different Conquest modes, or 2 different Breakthrough modes, or 3 different Portal modes. If you add them all together, there are about 15 entry points in the game. 15 different ways of playing Battlefield 2042. Kevin explains that this already has a significant hit on performance and server queue times, and that if they allowed players to queue for every game mode in the game, wait times would dramatically increase. So instead, they choose different modes every week that somewhat cater to as many playstyles as possible. Kevin emphasizes here that this is one reason why DICE is doing things this way with 2042. I'm definitely sure there are other reasons as well. Now, I've got some thoughts on this reply, and I'll keep things as balanced as possible, sharing opinions from both sides of the argument. The obvious response is just add a server browser. Surely that would allow players to play what they want when they want. It's what I think most people would love to see DICE implement, but unfortunately they have already confirmed that a server browser will not be coming to All Out Warfare. Instead, matchmaking will be improved and Portal will get persistent servers. Specifics on that haven't been shared, but I'll cover them once I have official word. Simply to play devil's advocate here, maybe DICE is right. This isn't necessarily an opinion I share, but plenty of the replies to me on Twitter were actually glad the server browser isn't coming back. How easy is it to find a match of war pigeons really? I can't do it here on PC very often, or defuse on Battlefield 4. It's practically impossible. Sure, you'll get a random server pop up sometime, but it's much harder in practice. At least if DICE rotates the modes, players will be funneled into these modes. Okay, but here's the counter argument to that argument. That doesn't matter. War pigeons mightn't be as popular all the time, but I know if I wanted to start a server and play with friends, I could, whenever I like. And besides, there's no way the entire 2042 player base is funneled into the rotated game modes every week. I'm sure many players just outright stop playing until their preferred game mode is playable the next week, or even the week after that. And then one last time, the counter argument to all of this is, of course, Portal. Kevin says it himself. If you want to play a game mode that isn't in rotation that week, we always have the option to spin up a server on Portal, earn full XP, and have the mode run exactly the same as it would in All Out Warfare. It's a bizarre topic that I'd love to hear your thoughts on down below in the comments. Portal really does hand us the keys to the kingdom, but All Out Warfare is still the most active part of the game. I still think a server browser would fix 90% of these issues, but it's still not a perfect solution. And again, DICE has already said they aren't doing it. Moving on though, the Battlefield franchise is turning 20 years old this week. DICE is handing out celebratory player card images featuring some of the mainline games. 1942, BF3, 4, 5, and 1 are all options to use. I've seen a lot of Battlefield 3 player cards since this has rolled out. I'm not super surprised DICE went with these games either, especially over other games like 2142 or Battlefield 2. too. It's likely the majority of players playing today are more familiar with BF3 or 4 compared to the Refractor era games. Still, I hope DICE does something else other than just these player cards. They're cool, but 20 years is a big milestone to achieve, and it would sort of be a waste to not celebrate it properly. DICE seems to be aware of a few balancing tweaks needed for the new guns introduced in Season 2. The underbarrel 40mm grenade launcher for the M16A3 is just a massive annoyance in-game right now. What made it worse was the assignment that required underbarrel launcher kills. Thankfully, the concerns have been heard and the attachments will be nerfed in a future update. The same can be said for the new AM40. The carbine uses the SMG headshot modifier value, meaning it does way less damage than it should. In-game ammo values don't line up with the attachment descriptions either, so all of this will hopefully be addressed in the next update, according to Stratford. And we're getting feedback from another third community manager this video. Ben confirmed on Reddit that a vehicle category rework is coming at some point, the specifics of which haven't been shared yet, but there are already some fantastic mock-ups by the community. This concept, by Twitter user Victor for example, separates the jets from the helicopters and makes the distinction between light and heavy armor more clear. Really cool model in my opinion, but if there's any vehicle players watching, let me know what you think below. Cheeky Hazard Zone Easter egg next. This one has been actually around for ages, but I'm only sharing it now because it's been updated slightly. Some of the data drives contain the key art for past Battlefield games. Samuel here on Twitter found this Battlefield 3 cartridge back in June, but has since discovered Bad Company 2, 2142, and even Battlefield Vietnam. It's a really cool Easter egg and fits quite well with the whole 20-year anniversary this week. And finally, I have a little bit of myth busting for you lads. DICE added the Master of Arms bundle to the store yesterday, and it includes the Roving Fire skin for the LATV-4. Immediately, players were concerned over this skin as it covers the back of the vehicle, unlike the other skins available for it. Players were outraged as this almost seemed like pay to win, so I bit the bullet and I bought the thing. I'm happy to report though that while you can't see the driver through the material at the back, you can still shoot through it. It's presumably the same hitbox as the base vehicle skin. The change is purely cosmetic, so no, it's not pay to win, it's pay to myth bust. But anyway, that about wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching right to the end, you absolute legend. Subscribe for more 2042 from me. Until the next one though, I'll see you lads later. You cannot see into my one, but you can shoot through it. You can kinda see into your one, and you can shoot through it. And you can definitely not see into Ham's one, and you can still
and
shoot
you can
through
definitely shoot through it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, the standard one's not that great. Like you can barely see it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why people are complaining. I guess because it's more of a like solid thing instead of just boxes. But
I mean, look at this guy. He's broke. He can't even afford a skin on his leg. See?
hey, get off my back.
Okay. So it's not really that big a deal then.
No, not really.
Cool.